Hello, I'm Jim with WP Fix Center. Thanks for watching this video. This video is going to show you how to create a new database in phpMyAdmin. This is part of a series of steps that you would take to change your username. Now, that's a little misleading. In your case, you're going to be running a web host, and you'll probably access your phpMyAdmin through that web hosting company. In the process of wanting to demonstrate this for you, I don't want to log into my web hosting company and give away all the information that's in that web hosting account. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do it locally on a local installation of phpMyAdmin. So I thought, since I have to go through these steps to get to the point of doing the video I want to do eventually, I thought I'd record the steps along the way and teach you a thing or two about phpMyAdmin. Now let's go ahead and go full screen and put me in the corner. Now this is phpMyAdmin. You'll notice I've got a couple of database names covered up. The reason for that is that I have customer installations that I've installed locally for testing and development, and so I don't want you to see those database names. That would be something that, as a hacker, you could potentially use to try to attack the site. So that's why you see a couple of lines scratched out on this screen. Now the steps to do all this are going to be to create a new database, install WordPress, and then I'll have a local WordPress installation. And then in the next video, what I'll do is I will show you how to actually work on that database and change the username. So just to be clear, this video is probably something you can skip because it's just showing you how to locally install WordPress and how to locally set up the database with WordPress. So let's go ahead and start taking some steps here. I'm actually working off of a WPMU dev article. It's here setting up XAMPP. XAMPP is a way to run to run WordPress locally on Windows, or basically to create a Linux-like environment on Windows. XAMPP is, the A is for Apache, the M is for MySQL, the one P is for PHP, and I forget what the second P is for at the moment. But it basically sets up what would normally be called a LAMP stack. That's in Linux. You would set up Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, LAMP. But you can do that on Windows. So let's take a look here. The very first step, just going through this article, is to create a new MySQL database for your WordPress installation. Now, this may look a little different to you if you're using phpMyAdmin on your web host. And I should explain just briefly, phpMyAdmin is a graphical interface to work on your databases. You can literally get in there on the table and row level and edit data. This is very often useful. Another video that I'll make is to show how to reset your password manually through the database. There's situations where you can't, for some reason you're not getting your password reset, email, and you need to go into your database directly and change that. So this video will lead into that as well. But let's take a look. In this particular instance of phpMyAdmin, I have a new, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, and also on the Databases tab, I have a way to make a database name and create it. So that's the very first step. Let's do that. Let's make this local install. Everything is a local install under this, but this one's going to be my testing database. So I've just created a database, and you notice that it appears now under local install, and it's an empty database. It says no tables are found in the database. Now the next step that we're going to take is to install WordPress. So if you come back to the article, you can download WordPress, and you'll notice the steps are to download WordPress and you unzip it into a local directory. So let me get a local directory up here. Just one second, this is off the screen. I'll bring it onto the screen in a second. I want to go to my C drive, XAMPP, htdocs, and then I think it's okay for you to see this. Let me bring this on the screen. Okay, I'm going to create a new directory here, new folder, and I'm going to call it local install as well. It doesn't matter if that name is the same or not. And then what I want to do is I have WordPress 5.4 downloaded here already, so let's move it into that local install folder. And then if I right click, I have something installed called 7-zip. You may want to install 7-zip. Normally Windows just comes with the extract all functionality, but if you use 7-zip, you get a lot of better options. And what I want to do is I want to extract the files here. It goes through and extracts. Oh, it's still putting it in a WordPress folder for me. So we need to go into that folder, copy everything, actually cut everything, move back up and paste. Paste. And I'm going to delete that now empty WordPress folder. And I'm going to move the WordPress 5.4 back up to htdocs. At this point we have WordPress fully installed. We still need to make a couple of changes. If we go back and look at the WPMU dev article, you'll notice that there's a default, well, let me show you here. There's a wp config sample.php, and what's missing is a wp config.php. Let me show you this file. This is the file that controls what your database name is, what your username is, what your password is, and a bunch of other stuff. It has the salts for your login. It has your WP database table prefix. You notice that the default is WP. Now when you install this on a web hosting service, very typically they're going to give you a different table prefix, so it could be almost anything. And the reason for that, again, is to obscure the table names from any hackers. But this default install just uses WP. So what we need to do is, I'm going to close this for a second, and I need to actually, the article says to change the name of the file. What I do instead is I copy the file, and then I paste it. So now I have WP config sample copy, and I'm just going to make that into my WP config.php. Now when I edit that, I need to change the database name, and the database name is going to be local install like we set up before. The username in a default XAMPP installation is root. Oops. And there's no password. It's a local install. I'm behind a NAT router, so good luck trying to get to my stuff. Okay, so we're going to save this file, close this out, and then now we should be able to go. If we look at the article, they talk about replacing the username here with root, and you make the password password here field empty, and then now we can actually just go to our local host. Remember, when you have, if you don't know, if you have XAMPP installed, you get to things by doing localhost. For example, I have this localhost. I have this stupid little thing that I've done here that just says hello HTML, hello PHP, hello Jim, and then it does PHP info. So I keep this around just to check my environment if I need to. But we're going to be at localhost local install, and then this is going to bring up the WordPress installation script. In theory. Here we go. Okay, so now according to the article, we step through the installation script here. We'll set up a username, we'll set up a password, and that's going to be it. So let me go back here. I click on continue. I'm in English. Site title is going to be local install. Normally you'd put something more descriptive in there for your site title. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the mistake of just having a default installation with admin. And then let's go ahead and let's make a really bogus password here. How about this one? How about some numbers in there? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a great password, right? No. And I'm doing this so I can set up this video where I change my password manually. Okay, we're going to discourage. Notice this one down here. Search engines aren't trying to index my site locally, but I'm going to go ahead and click this anyways. And I'm going to install WordPress, and I'll go ahead and save this password. Oh, it doesn't like that. It says it's very weak. Oh, it's not. Hello. I was just being stupid. What's a good email address here? Let's just use Jim at WP Fix Center. Okay, I found a password that it likes. Sorry for the little cut in the video there, but it wasn't liking my password with the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of funny. As soon as I took out the 1, 2, 3, 4, it made it a strong password, which That's not a strong password. Don't ever use a password like that. So how about this one? Question or exclamation point. So let's install WordPress. Let's go ahead and save that. And it's installing right now. This should just take a minute. Okay, and here I am. I have my chosen password and admin as the login. So let's go ahead and try to log in. So it is admin. How? I made a couple mistakes there. Notice I saved how about this one as a username. But hey, at least now it's there for me to remember what I did. How about this one? Exclamation point. Login. And that I'm going to save. Okay, and you'll notice this is running locally on my machine. This is not a site out there in the wild. And if I go to users, there I am. I'm admin. So that wraps up this video. And then the next video is going to show how to get into phpMyAdmin and change that admin username to something that's more secure. Thanks for watching.